Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It's me, Paddy from across the shuck, and you're very welcome back to the channel. Last week, I done the start of my traditional locking knives, and I think it was only 4, but that was my sort of top of the range locking knives. Now we're getting down to the middle of the range and budget end, because I have in all 3 sectors on purpose, because I need to have them that way for a YouTube channel. So there's a new one that just come into the collection. It just came in this week. And we'll start here. Let's start with this one. This is a Gale Bradley, the Spyderco Gale Bradley. This was out about 8 years ago, maybe. Maybe not quite that long, but I know it was a few years ago. It's discontinued now. So you're buying these on the second-hand market. And this came up, and I traded one of my knives for this, which was the big button lock Protec. It's a beautiful big knife, but again, it's sort of gimmick. I don't know why I do this. I get these knives and think, oh, that'll be nice to have a button lock in a collection, but I wasn't using it. So I decided to get this and traded that in for it. So this is the Gale Bradley, a beautiful knife. This is an M4. And back then, you know, a few years ago, M4 was just a brand new steel. M4 now is nearly common. You can get it on the Spyderco Tenacious now. It's dropped that much in price, but then it was a really expensive knife, and it's on this faux carbon, well, it's carbon fiber on G10, but there's texture on it, which is nice. Beautiful, beautiful, nice hollow grind saber blade with a hollow grind. Nice stock. Doesn't go down to a really thin tip, but it's thin enough. Do you know what I mean? But beautiful knife in hand. And if you watch the video I put up 2 days ago when I got it, I took it down and I cut some wood with it, and my gosh, does it just, M4 is great, a great tough steel, and this is just a lovely knife in hand. A big knife, 3.5-inch cutting edge. You know, it is a solid big. I have a large hand, and it just takes up most of my hand. It just sinks into it beautifully. And I have the pocket clip on it. So this is definitely, this would have been up in the top bracket last week. So the Gale Bradley is number 1. I'm going to start at the bottom and then we'll work up to the other ones. This is one of my oldest knives. Now you see it's nice and fresh there. I only done that about a year ago. This is the number 6 Opinel. I used this for years when I was bushcrafting. I used to use it for my food, for cutting bits of string, anything at all. I loved it. It's a super little knife, but it does lock. It's got the roto lock there. You just put your thumb in it, and let me just get it. Put your thumb in it, and that's it locked that way, and then turn it back to open it. But a super useful, very thin, easy to sharpen. Doesn't last a whole lot on the edge, but it's great for eating food. You know, even when it's blunt, it'll go through a steak. And that's why I kept it and used it. I really loved it. Super little knife. And this one is just an all-time favourite of mine. This is the Ganzo, I think it's a 727, is it, or something? 729. And it's the looky-likey of the PM2, except it's not a PM2. It's a bit smaller than the PM2. It's got the axis lock, which is just super. This is when there was a washer and a plastic, a phosphor bronze on a plastic washer, and it took it ages to wear itself in. Used to have bleeding fingers trying to do this to get it wore in, but I've had this for years. I just adore it. It's just super knife. Great work knife in 440C. So an absolutely amazing. I've got about 4 of the Ganzos left, and I still like them and I still use them. Super knives. And I would highly recommend anybody who gets them now, if you can find someone that sells them, please get them. A great knife. Here's another super little knife. This is an old timer. And most of the old timers are in 7CR, but this is one of their special series they done. And this is in D2. And it is a stunning, I'm trying to think, I can't remember what this was called. Gosh, I used to remember the name. The 50TH, Heritage, it was Heritage. The Heritage series, and in D2, beautiful little blade that'll do anything in D2. The D2 is well heat treated, Lovely little steel on this. Have used it, loved it. Really great knife. And the back lock is very secure and nice to have. Nice spring in it too, although it doesn't need it necessarily. And here's a real little posh lockback. This is my Moki. I adore this knife. I just think it is craftsmanship personified. It is absolutely beautiful. Not going to keep wiping it off, but look, there's my camera on that there. It is finished to the highest standard, completely mirror polished blade. You have a beautiful big long bolster and the most gorgeous burl wood on there. Look at that. You have a little lanyard hole, although I don't know what you would put in there, but yeah, I know somebody's going to say lanyard, but I don't know what size of lanyard you would put in it. It's not something I would be putting in it. But the fit and finish in this is exemplary. It's world-class fit and finish. There's not a gap in it. Everything is done to perfection. Moki really do. It's very much a hands-on knife, this to make. Very much so. But just look at the class in it. And the one thing you can notice, there's not a screw in sight. Not one. See that? How often do you see that? And I mean, they've been making these knives for years. It's beautiful. It's just everything about it. The action. It's just first class. I love this knife. And then we'll start up here again. Now, here's another, I'm going to call it a budget knife because I got this for £50 in one of my Facebook groups. And this is the Kansept Convict. And this one's in titanium, blue titanium, and the most beautiful full flat. And it is ultra slicey, a super knife. And I would say this is probably going to be my budget locking knife of the year because I bought it second hand. It was like brand new. It was razor sharp when I got it, and it hadn't been touched. It's just a gorgeous knife. Really is beautiful. I love that sort of sheep's foot type blade, or even lamb's foot, whatever you want to call that. But it is just gorgeous. Yeah, I mean, I got it for £50. I think to buy they're about 130, 140, but to me, it's in the budget category because it cost me 50 quid. Hey, what do you say? That's what it costs. So that's the budget it goes into. Again, the joys of buying second hand. Once these modern new knives go out of fashion, the price drops out of the market on them. It's very hard to get anywhere near half your money back on them. And you just have to accept that if you want to chase the next greatest thing. The next one is the one I'd held off a long while. It took me, I don't know how many years, about 5-6 years before I got the first Buck 110. And then I didn't keep the Buck 110 too big. And I decided I would get a chance of getting this one. This one's in S30V. This is the Buck 112. Again, it was a special edition. This is G10. And it's nickel silver instead of the brass. It's not much lighter, but in the hand, honestly, it is stunning. And I love the proper old clip blade on it, the same as in the Buck 110. I just think this is stunning knife, and an S30V, an absolute beast of a knife. It really is a super knife to use and to hold. You could do a fair day's work with this without any problem, but it's heavy. It's heavy. It's a pack knife. And the next one is my all-time favourite knife, and it's this. The Benchmade 940. This is the original. There's nothing new about it. Well, I suppose the clip's a wee bit new. I put a nice shiny clip on it. I just love this knife. I still love it as much today as I did when I got it. I know people say, oh, it's a bit thick behind the edge. Yeah, it is. But it's a knife. It'll still cut. You know, it mightn't slice the skin off your tomato, but it'll still cut. And it's still one of the most comfortable knives in hand. It's small, but yet it has a long reach, a great blade length on a small knife. When I first got it, I didn't realize it was that small. You know where you get given, and like in my hand, you know, it's just a lovely size of a grip. But compared to a lot of other knives in this category and what they're based for, this is just a worker. Look at that tip, a good, strong, solid tip. You can use it for prying. It was built for a farmer. That's what it was made for. And honestly, and a knife that's 20-odd-year-old, must be 25-year-old now at least. What a super quality knife. Just a super quality knife. I got that as a gift from Jeff Jewell years and years ago. It's just amazing. I love it. And this is one I bought this year. And this is the Enzo PK, which is a stunning, it's the same carbon fibre that's on that with the G10. It's a liner lock, much the same as that there. It's an S30V, and it is a lovely flat ground, but more of a woodsman type knife. Although you can use it as an EDC, it's a locking blade, so depending on where you live. But I would tend to take this out in the woods because that flat grind is quite a thin stock or thick stock, but it comes down to a nice edge. And I would quite happily do this woodwork and whittling, whatever you wanted to use it for. It's a gorgeous little knife, really nice, and quite inexpensive to get them. I wish I'd have got them years ago. So that's it. That's the rest of my knives. Again, I've got a couple of little small ones, but I didn't want to go and show them all. I've ones that are in there. But this is the majority of my locking traditional, or not look traditional. Your man's head's away. This is my modern locking knives, folding knives. And that other 4 that I showed, it was 4 or 5 in the other video. And that's it, basically. I really don't need any more. I think I'm covered for anything I want to do as locking knives go. And I'm very happy with what I've got. Now, the odd one might change like that there. I might trade it out and get another one. But I don't intend to collect any more, as in grow the collection. If I get one will go. And that's the way I'm working it. And it'd probably be this one. Because I do like the other ones at the moment. So I would think, that one will probably be the one that will go. But I'll maybe keep it for the rest of this year because it is a beautiful knife and I got it for an absolute steal. And that's the way to buy them. So there you go, folks. Thank you very much. I'm not going to go through all my traditional knives because it would take too long. And I think you'd be bored stupid because there's box after box of them. So from Paddy, have a lovely day. Thank you very much. It's hump day today. You've only another 2 days to the weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.